Hello, and this is Delia again, and I'm reading The Vampire Diaries, The Awakening. We're on Chapter 10, Part 1. Chapter 10, Part 1. October 7th, about 8 a.m. Dear Diary, I'm writing this during trig class, and I just hope Miss Halpern doesn't see me. I didn't have time to write last night, even though I wanted to. Yesterday was a crazy mixed-up day, just like the night of the homecoming dance. Sitting here in school this morning, I almost feel like everything that happened this weekend was a dream. The bad things were so bad, but the good things were so very, very good. I'm not going to press criminal charges against Tyler. He's suspended from school, though, and off the football team. So's Dick for being drunk at the dance. Nobody is saying so, but I think a lot of people think he was responsible for what happened to Vicky. Bonnie's sister saw Tyler at the clinic yesterday, and she said he had two black eyes and his whole face was purple. I can't help worrying about what's going to happen when he and Dick get back to school. They have more reason than ever to hate Stefan now. Which brings me to Stefan. When I woke up this morning, I panicked thinking, what if it all isn't true? What if it never happened? Or if he's changed his mind? And Aunt Judith was worried at breakfast because I couldn't eat again. But then when I got to school, I saw him in the corridor by the office, and we just looked at each other, and I knew. Just before he turned away, he smiled sort of wryly, and I understood that too. And he was right. It was better not to go up to each other in a public hallway, not unless we want to give the secretaries a thrill. We are very definitely together. Now I just have to find a way to explain all this to Jean Claude. Ha ha. What I don't understand is why Stefan isn't as happy about it as I am. When we're with each other, I can feel how he feels, and I know how much he wants me and how much he cares. There's an almost desperate hunger inside him when he kisses me, as if he wants to pull the soul out of my body like a black hole. That still October 7th now, about 2 p.m. Well, a little break there because Miss Halpern caught me. She even started to read what I'd written out loud, but then I think the subject matter steamed her glasses up and she stopped. She was not amused. I'm too happy to care about minor things like flunking trigonometry. Stefan and I had lunch together, or at least we went off into a corner of the field and sat down with my lunch. He didn't even bother to bring anything, and of course, as it turned out, I couldn't eat either. We didn't touch each other much. But we talked and looked at each other a lot. I want to touch him more than any boy I've ever known, and I know he wants it too. But he's holding back on me. That's what I can't understand. Why is he fighting this? Why is he holding back? Yesterday in his room, I found proof positive that he's been watching me from the beginning. You remember how I told you that on the second day of school, Bonnie and Meredith and I were in the cemetery? Well, yesterday in Stefan's room, I found the apricot ribbon I was wearing that day. I remember it falling out of my hand while I was running, and he must have picked it up and kept it. I haven't told him, I know, because he obviously wants to keep it a secret. But that shows, doesn't it, that he cares about me? I'll tell you someone else who is not amused, Caroline. Apparently she's been dragging him off into the photography room for lunch every day. And when he didn't show up today, she went searching until she found us. Poor Stefan, he'd forgotten about her completely, and he was shocked at himself. Once she left a nasty, unhealthy shade of green. I might add, he told me how she'd attacked herself to him the first week of school. How she attached herself to him the first week of school. She said she noticed he didn't eat at lunch, and she didn't either, since she was on a diet, and why didn't they go someplace quiet and relax? He wouldn't really say anything bad about her, which I think is his idea of manners again. A gentleman doesn't do that. But he did say there was nothing at all between them. And for Caroline, I think being forgotten was worse than if he'd thrown rocks at her. I wonder why Stefan hasn't been eating lunch, though. It's strange. In a football player? Uh-oh, Mr. Tanner just walked by and I slammed my notepad over this diary just in time. Bonnie is snickering behind her history book, and I can see her shoulders shaking. And Stefan, who's in front of me, looks as tense as if he's going to leap out of his chair any minute. Matt is giving me you nut looks, and Caroline is glaring. I'm being very, very innocent, writing with my eyes fixed on Tanner up front. So if this is a bit wobbly and messy, you'll understand why. For the last month, I haven't really been myself. I haven't been able to think clearly or concentrate on anything but Stefan. There's so much I've left undone that I'm almost scared. I'm supposed to be in charge of decorations for the haunted house, and I haven't done one thing about it yet. Now I've got exactly 3.5 weeks to get it organized, and I want to be with Stefan. I could quit the committee, but that would leave Bonnie and Meredith holding the bag, and I keep remembering what Matt said when I asked him to get Stefan to come to the dance. You want everybody and everything revolving around Elena Gilbert. But that isn't true, or at least it has been in the past, and I'm not going to let it be true anymore. This is going to sound completely stupid, but I want to be worthy of Stefan. I know he wouldn't let the guys on the team down just to suit his own convenience. I want him to be proud of me. I want him to love me as much as I love him. Okay, so that's part 1 of chapter 10. And I shall return.